Welcome to Hard Copy from our channel's television studios in Abuja. I am Kayla Magwa. I'd like to begin by saying a very big thank you to my colleague, Bukola Koka, for standing in for me while I was away. Not long ago, the Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, raided a drug party held at Proxy Nightclub located at number 7 Akin Adeshola Street, Victoria Island, Lagos, where operatives arrested over 100 attendees, including the club owner, Pretty Mike, and his manager. Apparently, according to the agency, the organizers had circulated flyers inviting people to what was described as a drug party. The agency's director of media and advocacy, who is my guest tonight, Femi Babafemi, said undercover operatives infiltrated the club, made pre-purchases of illicit drugs, and monitored activities for about 4 hours before storming the premises between 11 p.m. on Saturday and 3 a.m. on Sunday. He said operatives recovered 384,886 kilograms of Canadian loud, a potent strain of cannabis, and other illicit substances from the club's storage area. The agency has filed a forfeiture suit against the Lagos nightclub owned by socialite Mike Mogu, popularly known as Pretty Mike. Tonight we're talking about the war on drugs, narcotics, skunk, ice, gutter water, lamba, pills, molly, scoochies, loud, monkey tail, Refnol, solution. Yes, we are descending into a drug-fueled haze in this country. 2 generations after mine don't even think it's bad to use drugs. In fact, cannabis use is so common in Nigeria that tonight we'll be trying to find out why it's illegal in this country. About 50 countries around the world have fully or partially legalized cannabis. Are we chasing our tails here? Can this war be won? Is there a different way to harness the potential of cannabis as opposed to an outright ban? The NDLEA catching travelers hiding drugs on their person or in their luggage has become a popular sight on the pages of newspapers and social media platforms. Patterns in the war on drugs, out-of-the-box thinking, the marijuana question, property forfeiture for drug use, and presidential pardons for drug convicts will be the main focus in our conversation tonight with Mr. Femi Babafemi, the Director of Media and Advocacy for the Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA. Mr. Femi Babafemi, welcome to Hard Copy.
Thank you, Kayla.
Good to have you here.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Well, a lot of work has been going on.
Absolutely.
So let me start off with this Pretty Mike business.
Okay.
Why are you trying to take his club away from him?
Well, that's the position of the law. When you first, we have the agency is empowered to curb the production, the circulation, the processing, the cultivation, the sale, and the use of illicit substances across Nigeria. And in the case where the law is violated, there are also consequences. One of such is the seizure of those substances, the arrest and prosecution of the offenders, and then the filing of forfeiture suit against the vessels or facilities used for the trafficking or the conduct of that illicit substances.
Well, he is innocent until he's found guilty. Why? You're going to
but then that's why I say
doesn't he have to be convicted?
We are not.
First?
It's not as if because there is a provision of the law which is the Process of Crime Act, which enables us, which empowers us to go after the assets that we suspect are process of this criminal trade or are used in the commission of the offense.
You don't need a conviction of the criminal first before you start.
It's an action in rem. It's different from the prosecution of the individual. This one is targeting the facility itself used for the commission of either as a process of the crime or as a facility used for the commission of the crime. And in this case, it's obvious. Well, I mean, there are quite a lot of things are still going on, but then in this case, they established that illicit substances were being sold in that club and were being abused in that facility. And in fact, like you said in your intro, like you did say in your intro, that of course there was a drug party. It was an advertised, party, and we got intelligence on that. We did our surveillance, and our men were part of it as undercover agents until they had gathered sufficient evidence, recorded videos and all of those to be able to prosecute the individuals involved, and that's at the point they struck at that 3 a.m. on Sunday.
So a sting operation.
Absolutely.
Some people say it's people online. Some of them are saying that, listen, this has been going on for a very long time. It's most likely that Pretty Mike didn't settle somebody.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now somebody wants to punish him for not settling somebody.
No, absolutely. Those are what you find. There are fans online, say all those things. But then that's we're dealing with reality. We're not dealing with their sentiments. It's not about sentiment. It's about reality. Because indeed, when you look at the drug situation in Nigeria, it's something that is disturbing. When you look at even that, this is going back to 2018 drug use survey report, where the population of those that had abused illicit substances in the previous year, that figure stands at 14.3 million Nigerians.
14.3 million Nigerians.
That's huge.
Hold on.
Okay.
Let's talk about that figure.
Okay.
That number, you and I know that the bulk of that number is cannabis.
Absolutely. 10.6 million of that figure is, they are cannabis users.
So let's have the cannabis conversation, the marijuana conversation.
I'm here for you.
Around the world, when we travel outside this country, we see people buying marijuana in dispensaries for whatever reason, whether it is for ailments or for relaxation or for whatever. Many people have argued that the reason why marijuana is so illicitly sold in this country and people are adulterating it and you come up with one strain or the other is because it is illegal. If you legalize it and you're making taxes from it, and then people can just smoke what they want to smoke and enjoy themselves. Kayla,
you and I know that for something that is illegal and 10.6 million, that's about 2018. By now, we can't really say whether that the figure would have doubled or tripled. Do you understand? And if we say that figure, when you talk of 10.6 million, that's a population of some European countries or even some African countries combined. We can. We have our own challenges, peculiar challenges, especially the security challenges we have. And we cannot afford to toy with or copy what is happening in some other places that may not have the same challenges we have, and copy and paste here because we want to follow what is happening around the world. We have to consider our own situation and then apply wisdom, do our own due diligence, and then do the right thing. And in this case, we're doing the right thing by ensuring that this remains banned in Nigeria. That's not overlooking the fact that we could, like the chairman chief executive of the NDLEA, General Marwa, did say at the last workshop organized by the Nigerian Academy of Science in Abuja here, that's to be some 3 weeks ago. He did say the agency is actually not averse to the fact that we could have a controlled, monitored export of this to people, to companies and countries that may want to use them. But for us here, we're not in that situation yet. And in fact, the agency had gone ahead to even commission the Nigerian Academy of Science to do to make some research for us to be able to establish certain facts about cannabis use and all of those. But then for now, given our own peculiar situation, given the high prevalence, we are talking of 14.4 prevalence rate as against 5.6 globally. That's almost 3 times the global average. So we cannot afford to toy with that. And when you look at the security challenges the nation is facing, we cannot play with it because we do know that there is a strong nexus between some of these issues and drug use.
People have argued if you remove the illegality on marijuana, you've killed the business. Why don't you do that instead?
No, that's what
because the ban and the heaviness of the law on the use of marijuana makes it a thriving market for the black market.
No, let me just draw an analogy here. Today, opioids, some opioids like codeine, tramadol, they are controlled, meaning that you can't get them over the counter.
Yeah.
Now, in the last 18 months thereabout, the agency had seized more than 1.8 billion pills of tramadol. 1.8 billion. We are not talking of the ones for medical use. We're talking of the illicit ones. That is talking about
1.8 billion pills.
Pills. I'm not talking of million. Yeah. Different from, that's apart from millions of bottles of codeine. Where are these going to? Who will consume them? There are young people are being targeted to destroy them, to kill them, to destroy their future. And no country that is committed to the welfare of its citizens would stand idle and allow these things in the name of, let's copy what they are doing out there. Let's copy what others. Find if there are good things we can copy, contextualize it and see if it works for us. But if it doesn't work for us and if it won't work for us, there is no need copying that. Again, I repeat that the agency is not advanced to a situation where we have a location where this is grown, controlled for controlled export so that the country can make money from it. But for us to say we want to allow our people to use it, even let me give you an instance. Thailand in 2022 did legalize, decriminalize the use of it. Some 2-3 years after, precisely June this year, 2025, they had to put restrictions again because the youths went overboard. That's in Thailand. So we have, just as people are citing examples of where this is legalized, there are others who had also done it and they can't cope with it.
And anyone who's being realistic about it in our country right now will know that there is an upsurge in drug use. In fact, the marijuana that we're discussing is not the drug of choice. For a lot of the
even the marijuana now
they are mixing it with
exactly because when you use it over time
you need more. You need more.
Yeah. So you continue. Now we have one of the things we have discovered is apart from what we used to be the cannabis sativa that we have, which is the marijuana. Now they have to go import smuggle in the one we call Canadian loud, and then Colos. That's Colorado. That's the synthetic one, very dangerous because they are mixed with chemicals. Now we have also seen California loud also coming. So these are dangerous substances.
What do you think is the root cause? Why are Nigeria's youth turning to drugs, in your view?
Unfortunately, a lot of them are being misled by so-called celebrities, by so-called influencers who glorify and glamorize these things.
So you see that?
Yeah, of course. And that's
Nigerian celebrities.
And that's exactly what we are doing with this case. You know, you have to...
If you've been seeing Nigerian celebrities, you've seen musicians, you see them smoke it on social media, glamorize it, like you said.
Yeah.
Have you ever picked up, apart from Pretty Mike, who everyone is saying is a special case with you people, but you said it's not.
There's nobody that is not. There's nobody. Let me tell you about.
You said it's not. So why haven't you picked the popular musicians that you see smoking marijuana or whatever on social media?
We have done that in the past. If you go, just let me tell you something. Okay. It's not about we in this case you need evidence to prosecute somebody. It's not
video is evidence.
That's what. No. The law doesn't. It's not. You need physical evidence. It's not about that. Do you understand? It's not about that.
So the fact that the person did it in a video and put it online is not evidence.
The person could tell you that what you see is ordinary paper or cigarette. So that's why we do it. For instance, I did tell you in the case of Prozi nightclub, our operatives, our undercover agents were there for hours, did pre-purchases, that's to gather evidence, 2 exhibits, 2 had recordings live there. They were there and they were able to trace where these things were coming from, the store of the facility. Do you understand? And they were able to get this thing right. That's why you see if you follow us on social media, we did show people the exhibits.
Are there other celebrities that you're following right now?
Well, you don't want me to be giving out our operations are intelligence led. So we are on top of this case, and that's why we're...
No, not Pretty Mike's case. I'm talking about other celebrities.
Of course, that's absolute. We don't take our eyes off people when we are tracking, or when we are gathering intelligence, or when we are conducting surveillance. We remain some for years, some for months, so it depends. But then I'll tell you that this is about the life of the future leaders of this country. If we don't act now, those we call the future leaders may not be there when the future comes for them.
So celebrities that are watching this program right now, who smoke marijuana, they should know marijuana or colos or whatever it is that they're taking. There are so many. The names are so many now. So anyone who's doing Molly or whatever that is watching this right now should know that the NDLEA is watching them.
Absolutely.
We started off by talking about, why young people are moving to drugs. And you said because a lot of these celebrities...
Yeah, there are quite a lot of factors. I just mentioned that. That's just one of them.
There's one that many people say is the major reason why many young people are moving to drug use, which is the depression. The depression and frustration of their country. Things are not working. It feels like everything is against you.
But that's
for many of these young people, they don't have the mental capacity to be able to say no, or to start to do menial jobs and start to grow from there. Yeah. It does feel like the country in many ways wants to choke its youth. So many of these young people turn to drugs and to forget.
Unfortunately, that's not a justification, because it's like you are in a bad state already. Now you want to go into drugs to complicate a bad situation. So that's exactly how it looks. We're working with other stakeholders like the Federal Ministry of Education to see how we can also curb the demand for these illicit substances by young people, especially when they know that they will have to face drug integrity tests, if they will have to go to school, if they will have to get employment, if they will have to get married. All of these things, we're putting all of these checks in place to ensure to see how we can use all of that to cut down the demand for these illicit substances. These days, parents just want to give birth, move on, and leave these kids without the proper care. Because how do you have... if you see some of the videos we cannot put out there, you see some of these young ladies half naked, rolling on the ground under intoxication. So,
you were talking earlier, you mentioned the drug tests.
Yes, drug integrity test.
How far have we, because the conversation came up, I remember Mr. Marwa talked about it, and it even spread to where we're talking about government officials.
Yeah, absolutely.
Elected officials, appointed officials, in schools, in places of work.
Absolutely.
These drug tests that, and in many parts of the world, even in the office, you have to do a drug test once in a while. Because what most people don't know about drugs is that it takes time.
Yeah, it stays long in your body. They just think, okay, if I'm not taking it today, so the test will not. No. It goes back to even 3 months, 6 months. Yes, it's in your system. So that shows you how dangerous it is to your body.
But my question is, how far have we gone with the calls for these drug tests, especially for our elected officials?
Yeah, absolutely. It's an advocacy push, and it's gaining ground. That I can tell you. For instance, recently we had a meeting with the Honorable Minister of Education, and he bought into that policy.
For students?
For students, yeah, I'm coming. That's for students. Making it mandatory for students going into admission, tertiary or returning students, all of those, and quite a lot of schools have already adopted this. Don't also forget, I know the area where you are going for people who are in high offices, for instance, public servants and even some private organizations, they are already doing this. But because it's a public health issue, it's a public health issue, people will not come out to be announcing we have done this in this organization. We have done it in quite a lot of government institutions, agencies. Whether you talk of the military, whether you talk of MDAs, ministry, departments and agencies of government, the NDLEA itself is what we do periodically, constantly, to set the example. We can't be pushing for it, I will not do it. No, we're doing it, and we're encouraging others to do it. And they are doing it, that I'll tell you. Okay. They are doing it. I know state governments today that you can't become commissioners, you can't contest for elective offices that without undergoing drug tests. You can't even go for, be selected for traditional stool without undergoing drug tests. So it's gaining ground. I'm sure you will probably be looking at, but then this has to do with starting from the lowest. Let's not focus on any particular level, because this is something that is there, and we have to put all the necessary checks in place to discourage people from doing this. It's in their interest.
It does feel, though, that the focus is on lower levels.
No, it's not.
When are we going to do the drug test for senators, for ministers? When is that going to happen?
Who told you they are not doing it? Like I tell you, like I said, it's an advocacy. It's not the law yet. It's an advocacy thing, because it's even in the individual's interest. Let's take a, for instance, if you are on we have an online portal for visa processing and drug integrity test at the moment. When you go there, if you are going to get a visa clearance, which is required by some countries now in Nigeria, before you get to the point of applying for visa clearance, it will ask you go back and get the drug test. Yeah. Do you understand? So that anybody, but then it's not like you going to the hospital to go and have a medical checkup. You won't come out and be saying, I've just done this or I've done that. Do you understand? Because it's a medical thing. So you can't, and we also cannot come out and be saying, ABC has done this. No. That's the way it is done. But we are pushing it, and I can assure you that it's gaining ground. More people are buying into it. The traditional rulers, the religious leaders, they are now demanding for it before they conduct weddings for prospective couples. The
UNODC says we have just 7 rehabilitation centers, which means that the plethora that I see are probably privately run.
No.
Or do we have more than 7?
We do. What they are referring to is the tertiary institutions.
Yes.
The tertiary institutions, that is the teaching hospital, the psychiatric, the tertiary ones, like Arrow in Abeokuta. There is one, the popular Yaba left in Lagos, the psychiatric hospital in Yaba. There is another one in a neuropsychiatric hospital in Maiduguri. There is another one in Zaria. Also, so those are the ones they are referring to, the tertiary institutions. But then you have, for instance, at our level, we have about 30 counseling and treatment centers across the country.
The capacity of these places.
And in the last say 4.5 years, I can tell you we've treated about 30,000 across those facilities, our own alone. And you have several also that we work with in the private sector, those owned by communities, those owned by non-governmental organizations. And I'll tell you why people need to avoid these illicit substances. What it takes to recover from those who are dependent or hooked on it, it costs a lot, both to the individual.
Do we have proper facilities and trained staff that can handle treatment? Because that is one of the issues about drug use in Nigeria.
Yeah, absolutely.
Punishment versus rehabilitation.
In our own case, I'll tell you, for instance, the people we arrested at the nightclub, we just put them through, even though that matter is still ongoing, because in the first instance, they are all accessories. They are all suspects because they were arrested at a drug party.
They are also users.
Yeah. But then,
which means that they need treatment.
That's exactly what I'm telling you. But then, in our own case, we're following global best practices, and that's why, even though the law says they are culpable, do you understand? But in our own case, we try to see as much as possible how to balance both supply reduction and demand reduction, and that's why we more often than not put them through counseling and treatment than bringing the full weight of the law upon the users.
Okay.
But for dealers, traffickers, the barons, all of these people, we go all out to ensure that they face the consequences of their action.
We're about to wrap up, so let's talk about those barons, the ones that you have locked up in jail.
Yeah, they are there.
Yes, the president has changed a lot of the patterns.
So I'm sure
but initially,
yes,
at the time when you saw some of your drug barons being pardoned on that list, was that something that worried the NDLEA? Because maybe we were saying, but the NDLEA did so much work putting these people in jail. Yeah. Why would you just pardon them like that?
No, I'm sure the actions definitely were within the powers of the president.
Yes.
And, we also have to give it to the president that he has, he's a listening leader, and he has decided to immediately order a review of that immediately. And that has been done. And now another good thing is he has also directed that subsequently, before this thing is done, the prosecuting agencies have to be consulted. That solves it all, honestly. That solves it all.
That's actually a very important question.
Yes.
There, because a lot of even these ones that their sentences have been reduced.
Yes.
There were some very important ones, but there was one that stood out for me, a lady that had been sentenced for 25 years. I remember that story, and how much the NDLEA put into ensuring that she was a socialite, that this woman went to jail. The sentence has been reduced. Is the NDLEA satisfied?
Of course.
With the way the president has handled this right now?
Of course, more than satisfied. More than satisfied. And that's why the agency provides a call center where we have counselors, clinical psychologists, psychotherapists, and psychiatric doctors that work 24/7. And all anybody needs to access help from the center is just dial the number. It's toll-free. The helpline is toll-free. You don't need to pay. The bill is on us, not on you. So from any part of the country, you can dial our toll-free helpline 0800 1020 30 40 right from the comfort of your home. And there you have our experts assisting you, helping you. Because some of these people may not actually know the risk involved, and they may not. Some of them, even who know who want to seek help, may not even know how to. But with that call center, they can sit in the comfort of their home without the fear of being judged or being stigmatized.
And we can trust that the NDLEA is an agency that we can trust.
Absolutely.
Your staff are not reselling the drugs in the market.
No, that can never happen. That I can assure you, because we have a lot of mechanisms in place, a lot of checks in place, and not a single individual has access to where these things are stored. And then at the end of the day, when the cases are finally concluded in court, with all of these things are brought to the open, to the public for public destruction, following a valid court order. So they are properly audited from time to time. And so nobody, the individuals know the consequences of tampering with exhibits. Nobody would dare do that. That I can assure you, Kayla.
Well, I want to thank you so much, Mr. Femi Babafemi, for being with us.
I should thank you especially for that, your brilliant intro.
I want to thank you so much. Our greetings to everyone in the agency, and good luck with all the work I know you have.
Thank you. I appreciate you always.
That's Hard Copy this week. I'm Kayla Magwa. Good night.